consumers. And Home Ministry wants to issue own refugee card despite UNHCR recognition. More on that after this. Bank Negara Malaysia announced 5 successful applications for digital banking licenses in the country. The successful applicants approved by the Finance Ministry will undergo operational readiness to be validated by the central bank through an audit before commencing operations. This process will take between 12 to 24 months. The 5 consortia awarded the digital banking licenses are Boost Holdings and RHB Bank, while Kwok Brothers and GXS Bank, a joint venture between Grab and Singtel, make up the second consortium. C Limited and YTL Digital Capital, the third consortium. Aeon Financial Service, Aeon Credit Service and Moneyline Inc., the fourth consortium. And lastly, a consortium led by KAF Investment Bank. Bank Negara said they received 29 applications for the digital banking licenses. The applicants were thoroughly assessed for their character and integrity of the applicants, the nature and sufficiency of their financial resources, feasibility of business and technology plans, as well as ability to meaningfully address financial inclusion gaps. How will the entrant of digital banks shake up the local financial sector? And how will it benefit consumers? KPMG's Yeo Zin Yi discusses the impact.
Most of them are in one way or the other, either fintech or tech related, and they have done really well in their respective areas. There's a lot of credibility attached to the successful applicants. So that was very nice to see.
Sin Yi said consumers can expect more seamless experience as the financial sector undergoes digitalization.
For the financial institutions, it just means that for the digital financial services institutions, it just means that they can move forward, right? And they understand that in the next 12 to 18 months, this is the period where, you will have new products being rolled out, you will have new skill sets being adopted. SMEs can look forward to new type of delivery modes, even for retail customers as well as ourselves. We do expect that lots of things will change, and we're really looking forward to this. It will change our behavior and how we consume financial services. It won't just be the traditional way of, you only use it when you need it. You probably won't even realize that you've been using financial services in your daily lives, but it will become really a seamless experience for the customers, and we're really hoping to see that in the next 12 to 18 months' time, I guess. Whether it's disruptive or not, I would say that it would be a positive change, a positive disruption, if you can call it that. We are talking about 24/7 kind of financial services. If done right and done well, it will definitely bring better good, and any risks and challenges can be mitigated with the right knowledge and deployment model.
Now, in other news, the government plans to issue its own refugee card through the Home Ministry. Minister Datuk Sri Hamzah Zainuddin says the power to give asylum to Rohingya refugees should be given to Malaysian authorities and not third-party agencies.
Currently, refugees in Malaysia are registered by United Nations High Commission on Refugees UNHCR. He said many Rohingya refugees in the country claim they are registered by UNHCR, but the authenticity of their claims are questionable. Hence, he said the government is looking to only accept refugee cards issued by agencies under the Home Ministry, not by the UNHCR. In April 2020, the minister said the government would not acknowledge refugee status of Rohingyas and classified them as illegal immigrants who held the UNHCR cards.
Meanwhile, the Malaysian Employers Federation proposed for refugees, undocumented migrants and minor crime prisoners to be given temporary approval to work. President Datuk Dr. Syed Hussein Syed Husman said the special approval for labour would help cover the country's shortage of foreign workers. He added that those granted government approval can be deployed immediately to fill up the shortage until new foreign workers arrive. There are about 168,000 refugees holding the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees card, and over 60% are eligible to work. Employers in sectors including plantation, manufacturing, tourism, retail services, and construction are facing acute shortage of foreign workers. This was after Malaysia halted new recruitment of foreign workers since the pandemic, which saw the country's borders shut. The Ministry of Environment and Water has set an ambitious target of zero single-use plastics in Malaysia by 2030. That's only less than 5 years away. Its Secretary General, Dato Sri Dr. Zaini Ujang, however, believes this can be achieved through a series of policies to effect behavior change among producers and consumers. We have him on the show tonight to explain the ministry's Plastic Sustainability Roadmap 2021 to 2030.
The first stage in our strategy is to do educational and voluntarily actions. So by 2025, there will be more stringent enforcement. And by 2030, we hope that there is no longer one single-use plastic in the country. So it goes very slowly. This is to encourage people to change their lifestyle, dependency on one single plastic. So whenever we go to market, in the past, probably we don't think about packaging, what kind of bags that we want to bring to markets or to wet markets. But now people carry their own plastic bags or their own bags. And they know that we don't want to rely so much on the single-use plastic. Then this is happening in the country at the moment, and it's widespread at the moment.
The next step in driving the country towards reducing plastic waste, he said, is to shift product designs towards using sustainable material.
What we have done and what we are now trying to embark on is to improve the product design. In the market now, we have biodegradable plastic. This morning, we had discussion with various agencies and departments around in Malaysia on utilization of single-use plastic in shopping malls. Say, for example, in Selangor, they introduced a plastic charge for it, 20 cents per plastic. In Penang, say, for example, 1 ringgit per plastic. But in Putrajaya, all retailers must use biodegradable plastic instead. So it means that the product has changed from non-biodegradable to biodegradable plastics.
Money or rewards were the most effective way to get people to recycle. Zaini said the ministry aims to reintroduce the Extended Producer Responsibility, or EPR scheme, to help reduce plastic pollution.
And what we are trying to do is to have what we call Extended Producer Responsibility Scheme. They are producing, they are selling, and they will collect back the material. So in the past, we were thinking about this my generation, it's not your generation. Whenever we buy bottled water, so we can return the bottle. We pay, I'm not sure, probably 45 cents. We can return the bottle at the price of 5 cents. So during Hari Raya, 35 years ago, or probably 40 years ago, children like me at that time will collect as many bottles as possible. And at the end of the day, we can get 3 ringgit, 4 ringgits because of our efforts. So that is Extended Producer Responsibility Scheme in the context of plastic material. If you return back, say, for example, packaging materials, you will be refunded. And this is important for the plastic materials to get back their products, and then they make some modification on it, and then they can reuse it from time to time.
We'll continue after the break. Stay tuned.
Milo. Menangi hadiah berjumlah RM500,000 bersama Milo. Jom sertai sekarang.
South Korea will lift an outdoor face mask mandate beginning Monday in the country's latest step to ease COVID restrictions. The announcement comes after Seoul dropped almost all other social distancing measures earlier this month. The public are still required to wear masks at events with 50 attendants or more. Prime Minister Kim Boo-kyum said today that the decision was made as the situation of the virus is stabilizing. President-elect Yoon Suk-yeol's transition team, however, called Friday's announcement as premature, since they had earlier planned to consider going mask-free outdoors around end May. South Korea has already scrapped most of its COVID-19 rules. It reports over 50,000 new cases today after hitting more than 600,000 daily cases in mid-March. Meanwhile, nearly half of Shanghai's population are now allowed to leave homes after enduring a month of hard lockdown. 12.4 million residents have been moved to a lower risk category, while another 6 million can step out of their houses, but still confined to their compounds.
Shanghai government has assigned 3 categories of risk to each housing unit, classifying those that haven't seen a COVID-19 positive case in 14 days as prevention zones, allowing leeway for certain activities. Shanghai factories are scrambling to reopen, but they are not yet running at full capacity as many workers remain stuck at home. Meanwhile, over in Beijing, the capital has moved to close schools and public spaces after 49 new cases were reported. More than 22 million residents turn out for another round of mass COVID-19 testing aimed at averting a Shanghai-like lockdown.
Israeli police fired rubber bullets and stun grenades towards Palestinian youths at the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, the latest outbreak of violence at a site revered by both Muslims and Jews. At least 42 Palestinians were injured in the early morning clashes.
Israeli police said they intervened when hundreds of people began hurling rocks and fireworks, including in the direction of the Western Wall, where Jewish worshippers gather. There were almost daily confrontations at the mosque this month when Ramadan overlapped with the Jewish celebration of Passover, which brought hundreds of thousands of Muslims and Jews to the old city. The Al-Aqsa Mosque compound is the third holiest site in Islam. Built on a hilltop that is most sacred site for Jews as well, it has long been a flashpoint in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Meanwhile, Hong Kong's next leader, John Lee, unveiled his manifesto today. Among others, he vows to tackle the housing supply crisis and to better protect the city from security threats. The 64-year-old is the only candidate to be endorsed by Beijing in the upcoming May 8th elections, and he is widely expected to win.
On improving governance, the former deputy head of police said Hong Kong shall enact its own laws to prohibit any act of treason, sedition and subversion against the government. Hong Kong attempted to enact such laws in 2003, but it faced resistance from residents. He also vowed to increase the city's competitiveness upon taking office. There is growing concern about Hong Kong's position as a global financial hub due to Beijing's increasing control and influence on the city. Lee is due to take over as chief executive on July 1st, replacing Carrie Lam, who is stepping down at the end of her first term.
Tonight on Consider This, Melissa Idris speaks to Suraya Zainuddin of ringgit.com about EPF withdrawals being used to cover Hari Raya expenses. She also speaks to culinary anthropologist Najib Arifin about the history and evolution of Hari Raya food and its significance to the Malay community. That's all we have for you on Awani tonight. Get the latest news updates from astroawani.com or the Astro Awani app. I'm Soraya Mia. We'll see you again soon, and thank you for watching.